Triage is a fun strategy game for ages 12 and up, and in this game the goal is to save as many of your colored people from the natural disasters as possible. Each round has 4 phases. The first 3 phases you roll a die to tell you which disaster site will be impacted. So if I were to roll a 5, I would put an impact level 1 on this disaster site. As we continue on, we get a chance to move our citizens by our bus, our car, and our helicopter to try and get them to the airport to evacuate them from the disasters. If you make it to the triage phase and your citizens are still within 1 space of an impact level 1, they would be injured. If they were within 2 spaces of an impact level 2, they would be injured, and so on and so forth. Crazy Quandaries is one of the games from our Take Your Pick series where you're trying to get to know your players better or just have a good time. In this game, you'll have cards and they'll have 2 options on them, and one player will be the subject and the other players are trying to guess which option they would choose. For instance, would your player rather be lost in the hot desert during the day or be alone in the jungle at night? Have no air conditioning or have no heat? And you want to put them in order that you feel most confident in, because if you guess wrong on one of them, you lose your turn. But as you continue to guess correctly, you get to keep going. Katachi for ages 8 and up is a strategic planning game that focuses on visual mapping and sequencing. The first player to get 3 tiles stacked onto their corner tile with at least 2 on the adjacent tile wins the game. They get to choose which tile to move by the roll of the dice. The color and the shape are chosen by this roll. So in this case, if I rolled a circle of any size and the color white, I can pick any white circle on the board and I'm going to try and move it towards my corner tile. So if I were to choose this white circle, in order to move it, I would have to match color, shape, or size to the shapes I'm moving it onto. So I can match circle, size, size, circle, size, color, circle, circle, and I would make it all the way to the end. So the first player that can do that wins, but there's a couple other rules, such as you can't have a height difference of more than 2 tiles anywhere, so I couldn't move if it would land in that way. Suits of Disguise is a fun card game for ages 10 and up, 2 to 4 players. On each round, you're going to flip out 3 cards that tells you which suits will score points for that round. For this example, the 9, 11, and 12. And you're going to take a turn by drawing from the top of the deck of the discard and adding to your hand and discarding. And at the end of the round, whoever has the most 9s will score 9 points, 11s, 11 points, and so forth. But you also will get penalties for whoever has the least of any suit, including the ones that don't score points. So you want to find a good balance in your hand, and that's Suits of Disguise. Do I have any trivia or Shakespeare fans? Check out Do You Know Shakespeare for ages 12 and up. In this trivia game, there are 5 rounds, each with a different question, and there are several answer options. So it's not a do I know it, yes or no. There's a chance you may know part of the answer. I get to place my book pawns here on the part of the tray that corresponds to the answers that I think are true, and I don't want to put them on the ones that I think are false. I get 1 point for each one that's correct, and I get 2 points for my light colored book pawn, or I would get 2 negative points if that were incorrect, and 1 negative point on every other one. We get to take turns going first, so I can use the other player's answers as a clue if I think they're going to be correct. Then we're going to flip over the card, and I get the points based on how many I answered, and those turn into shillings. The player with the most shillings wins the game.